Did you know you can reach further in Bedrock Edition than in Java? And no, this isn't a mod. Here are 101 differences between the versions to finally find out if Bedrock is better or if Java takes the cake. Did somebody say cake? In Bedrock Edition, you can stack up to 64 cakes in your inventory, letting you hold over 2,200 more cakes than in Java, where they don't even stack. On top of that, when eating those cakes, Bedrock Edition makes a noise, unlike Java, which doesn't make any noise at all. Boring. Dance party. Bedrock has a command that'll cause all nearby mobs to start bobbing their heads and dancing. And I mean all types of mobs, even this guy. Did you know you can be super huge, making this giant look like a baby? Look how cute he is. Or you can be super tiny, making even a baby chicken look massive. Ah, get away from me. Oh yeah, as you guys just saw, you can summon a giant zombie in Java Edition by using the command /summon giant. He doesn't really do anything though. Tired of losing your house? In Java, by placing a banner and right-clicking it with the locators map, it'll leave a marker on the map for you to find. If you rename the banner in an anvil, that name appears on the map too. Now let's play a game. I'm going to show you 3 differences between versions, and it's your job to guess which one is Java and which is Bedrock. Arrows shot at players works differently in the versions, as one leaves the arrow in the player and the other does not. Throwing a potion onto a creeper and then having it explode leaves a lingering effect behind, but only in one of the versions. And which version do you think can flip armor stands using a name tag? Ready to see how you did? Do you think you got them all right? Arrows will stay stuck in the players on Java Edition, not Bedrock. Creepers leave a lingering effect after blowing up with that effect in Java. And you can flip an armor stand using a dinner bow name tag in Bedrock only. So, how'd you do? I know us Bedrock players didn't do well when we learned that you can't build on the nether roof. This is a huge Bedrock L. Java has this way better, as it's a common place to build the craziest farms. Did you know in Java Edition, Endermen can actually sit inside of water? Well, not like that. Like this. Placing water in a cauldron is the only way that you can get these stubborn guys to take a bath. And speaking of Endermen, if you give them nowhere to teleport, shooting an arrow will simply bounce off no matter how many arrows you shoot. But that's in Java. In Bedrock, the arrows will disappear. Hey, give that back. Oh, whoa. Is that a dyed cauldron? Said the Java player. That's because in Bedrock, you can not only dye cauldrons, but also use those cauldrons to dye pieces of leather armor, unlike Java where you have to use a boring crafting table. Similarly, Bedrock Edition has potions in cauldrons. These potion cauldrons can be randomly found in witch huts, and they can be used to turn arrows into tipped arrows, which is way cheaper than the method on Java. But sadly, putting a mob in this cauldron does nothing. That'd be cool though. Oh my god. Did you know Steve blinks on Bedrock Edition? Ugh, that's creepy. I bet you didn't know that Bedrock only needs 1 water bucket for an infinite water source. That's because if you take a bucket and put it above a cauldron, it'll fill the cauldron, allowing you to get a free second bucket. Woohoo! Vindicators can't open doors in Bedrock. However, Java allows them to not only open them to get to the villager, but sprint through them at full speed. This is terrifying. Bedrock Pistons are way stronger, allowing you to push not only blocks, but also containers like chests and hoppers. As well, only in Bedrock can you place redstone on the piston and have it stay after you use it. In Java, it'll just fall off. But the biggest difference are trident killers in Bedrock, which are the single most useful thing that Java doesn't have. It allows you to automate almost any farm while collecting the XP, and you still get the looting 3 effect. Java, you're missing out. Oh yeah, one more thing. Java has something called quasi-connectivity, which I won't even begin to explain, but it does some weird stuff with pistons. Boom! If a charged creeper blows up a group of mobs in Bedrock, it'll give you every mob's head, whereas Java only gives you one of the heads, no matter how many you have nearby. This is tragic. But we're not done there, because in Bedrock, you can actually see through water and ice using the aura of a charged creeper. Good luck doing this in survival, though. If you want an easier method, that same X-ray trick can also be used by either holding a piece of glass or giving it to an armor stand. Why does Bedrock not have an F3 menu like Java? This menu shows coordinates, direction, chunks, biomes, even your computer specs. all Bedrock has is this lousy coordinates option. You also can't see chunk borders on Bedrock, so you have to do some stupid math if you want to find them. Where in Java, you can just press F3 and G. Huge Bedrock L. Although Bedrock does have a higher render distance though, since the game is more optimized, it allows you to see not just 32 chunks like in Java, but 96 chunks. That's 3 times further. However, Java has one feature so good it ends the Java versus Bedrock debate. The crossbow has 1 extra durability on Java Edition. Okay, maybe it's not that serious, but why is it different? Speaking of crossbows though, you can actually see your hand pulling back the string of the crossbow on Bedrock. Java Edition isn't as cool, and it doesn't show you your hands during the animation. The strip lands are a thing 17 million blocks away from Bedrock Edition's World Center. If you travel here, you'll find this weird landscape where the game runs out of memory and it creates this really cool strip lands effect. Who needs the Java Farlands anyway? This is way cooler. Did you know about the strip lands? Subscribe if you learned something new, because we've got so many weird version differences still to come. And some of them are even crazier than the strip lands. Just like walking on the end portal frame, I'm invincible! In Bedrock Edition, if you put some fences under the portal frames, after putting all the eyes in, you can stand on top of the end portal. This could make for a cool magic trick. Walking, oh, and I'm gone. I'm sure you know that parrots can sit on your shoulders and that you can make them dance using a jukebox. But did you know that you can have them dancing on your shoulders in Bedrock Edition? It's a whole dance party. Water breathing potions are useless. You can easily breathe underwater by placing down a door, and it'll create this air bubble that allows you to breathe. In Java Edition only. Sadly, this same thing doesn't work on Bedrock. Similarly, you can spam some torches underwater, and this allows you to get just enough breath to be okay. In Bedrock, you can't even put the torches underwater. This is so sad. Keeping things in the water, elytras behave differently between the versions. In Java, flying into water with an elytra puts you in this weird state between swimming and flying, while Bedrock just stops you from flying altogether. Speaking of elytras, if you try to jump while using one on Bedrock, you start to free fall, which can be dangerous, but could also be quite useful for getting down from high places. In Java Edition, jumping does nothing and you keep flying forever. While testing that last one, I also learned that in Bedrock, if you jump while using an elytra in creative mode, it sends you straight up into the air. Oh my god, I'm going too high! In Bedrock, you can ring a bell not just with your hand, but also by throwing items at it, even a feather. Dang, that thing must be heavy. I also just learned that bells make a different noise when you place them. Java makes a bell sound, where Bedrock is just like placing a normal block. Did you know you can reach further in Bedrock than in Java? And it changes if you're in creative or survival. Java is 5 blocks in creative and 4.5 in survival, where Bedrock is 5 blocks with a mouse or controller. However, using a mobile device allows you to reach 12 blocks in creative or 6 in survival. Some of these version differences, like that last one, make sense for game optimization, but others make no sense at all. Like, why is the Wither so much harder on Bedrock? This thing has twice the health, moves more unpredictably, shoots more Wither skulls, summons Wither skeletons, and causes so much lag because it breaks more blocks. Like, if anything, the Java one should be more difficult. You're telling me I have to beat this guy playing like this? It's the same for defeating a monument. When drinking milk after getting mining fatigue in Java, you have about a minute without the effect. Whereas Bedrock gives you maybe 1 second before giving it back to you. This is so unfair. I'm in creative, how am I dying? In Java, no matter what game mode you're in, the void is gonna kill you. However, Bedrock's a little more lenient, and it gives you a walkable platform at Y-104. Although if you go through it in spectator mode, you'll fall into the infinite pit of nothingness. Goodbye, world! Oh yeah, Bedrock also gives you a message if you try to place blocks down here. Java just assumes you already know. You can create this cool block effect on Bedrock Edition, but not Java. That's because in Bedrock, grindstones need a supporting block to sit on, whereas Java grindstones are able to float with nothing around them. I find it funny, Bedrock and Java is just 2 siblings making a game. It's similar, but they couldn't agree on the small details. Like, why does the Bedrock book and quill have 2 pages at a time where Java only has 1? It makes no sense. Or why in Bedrock does Silk Touch give you a path block, While Java, this doesn't exist and you need to use commands to get this block. One of my favorite features in Java is that you can play any version, from the current to the first ever version or any April Fool's update. You have all of it. Bedrock just has the latest version or the previews. Another feature I love is the scroll wheel in spectator mode on Java. By scrolling up or down in spectator, you can change the speed at which you fly from no movement at all to super speed. Bedrock doesn't have this. Boring. Java players also have TNT dupers. They're so powerful, and yet they just don't exist on Bedrock. Man, you guys are taking a lot of L's right now. Whoa, that's pretty cool. If you're on fire in Bedrock Edition, run to the nearest campfire or candle, and you can light them both with your own body. Who needs a flint and steel? Or you could just use a fire aspect book, which doesn't light mobs on fire, but it can be used to light these as well. It's a pretty cool trick. The potion drinking animation exists in both versions, but enter F5 mode and it now only exists in Bedrock. Java just teleports the drink into your mouth. Strongholds spawn differently between the versions. In Java, they're at set locations with 128 of them in your world and no more. They spawn much more randomly in Bedrock, allowing for some crazy stronghold locations and even double end portals. This huge zombie horde can't get to me because of these few rails. As a matter of fact, no mob can pathfind over rails in Java Edition. Just maybe watch out for skeleton shots. They also can't pathfind through fire, which is another good way to keep the horde away. Bedrock mobs, however, just don't give a fuck and just walk right through that flame. Fire! Or snow? By throwing a snowball through lava, it sets the snowball on fire in both versions. However, only in Bedrock can that flaming snowball actually light a mob on fire. This could be the ultimate defense system by using a snow golem. He's shooting flaming snow! And speaking of snow, in Bedrock, leaves will slowly turn white during snowstorms, and once the snow stops, it returns back to its normal color. This is even more clear when a tree is split perfectly between the two biomes. It's such a small detail that makes such a big impact. This forest is beautiful. Did you know impaling works differently between the versions? In Java, this enchantment deals more damage to aquatic mobs, not including drowned, because they're considered an undead mob. In Bedrock, however, this enchantment does more damage to any mobs that are just in the water or in the rain. In Bedrock Creative, once you stop flying, you stop flying. In Java, you continue moving forward for a second after you've let go. Which version of flying do you like more? Personally, I like Java, it just feels smoother. The Nether Star is stronger than you think. In both versions of the game, it's able to withstand an explosion where other items would just disappear. However, only in Bedrock does the Nether Star never despawn. This thing could sit here forever. You can take your fish on a walk? If you splash a water-breathing potion onto a fish in Bedrock Edition, it can actually breathe on land. I don't think he's ever been this high up before. Oh my god. Oh. He's dead. In Java Edition, when you die, all you see is the last thing you saw before you died, so you better know where you were. In Bedrock, however, you get a nice little third-person view showing you your last location from a different angle so you can find your stuff a lot easier. You can put a mob head onto villagers. By using a dispenser in Java Edition, you can put any head onto a villager, including a dragon head. Ah, what have I done? Hey, Steve, you're not secretly a villager, are you? Did you know you can get infinite lava? Most of you know about this, which drips lava through the dripstone into the cauldron. Pretty simple. But did you know in Bedrock Edition, if you dry water using a sponge over top of that cauldron, it instantly fills it up? Put this in a dry biome and you now have an infinite lava machine. You can read signs through blocks? Okay, maybe not. But in Bedrock, the text on a sign will show in front of the glass, allowing you to read it at all times. In Java, it doesn't work the same way, and it can be hidden by the glass border. Emotes! Bedrock has emotes, although you have to buy them through the store, which honestly is pretty lame. 69! Dispensers can actually throw tridents, and really far too. However, this is just Bedrock. In Java Edition, it's not as cool, and it just spits them out. Man, think about the traps you could make with this, though. Oh, I ate too much. I'm so heavy, I can't even jump. Using this command in Java Edition allows you to change your gravity level. You can be super heavy, falling 100 times faster than normal, or you could set it to a negative number and you fly. No! That's not the only funny command though, because in Bedrock, this one makes any mob's body huge, including yourself. Well, most of you. Your head stays the same size. Sprint jumping is broken in Bedrock Edition. In Java, sprinting looks normal, with one foot after the other. However, Bedrock decided they wanted to be special. Instead of moving your legs faster, this happens and your legs barely even move. Which sprinting design do you think looks better? Did you know iron golems are fatter in Java Edition? They can't fit their huge muscles into a minecart, whereas in Bedrock Edition, they get in with no problems. Whee! Okay, let me rant real quick. Why when I make a new creative world in Bedrock, does it not activate cheats? Like, who's ever gonna play creative and not wanna use commands? Bedrock, what are we doing? Maybe they're busy practicing their god bridging because only on Bedrock Edition can you bridge by placing blocks in front of you. This definitely makes it easier on console and mobile edition, but it does feel a little unfair. Do you think this is a good addition? Wandering traders always need their llamas. Well, in Bedrock, that is. Even if you use a spawn egg or commands to spawn one of these guys, he'll appear with both of his llama friends by his side. However, in Java Edition, spawning in a wandering trader is the only thing that you'll get. Llamas sold separately. Horses are kind of similar to llamas. Did you know in Bedrock, when a baby horse is growing up, it slowly grows until its max size? Whereas in Java Edition, there's a single jump between the ages. Honestly, this is a W for Bedrock. It's a pretty cool feature. Horses are also slightly unique between the versions. If you hold out a shield while riding one, Bedrock Edition automatically uses it when you're getting attacked, whereas Java players need to use the shields themselves. Nerds! Beds and doors are also different across versions, but not the object, the hitbox on it. In Java, you can visibly see two separate halves to both of these things, where in Bedrock, they're joined together so there's only one hitbox instead of two. And speaking of beds, Bedrock is much nicer with how you respawn if your bed is obstructed or broken. It'll put you in a safe location near where your bed was placed down. Even if you have a million blocks surrounding it, the game will still spawn you nearby. Java Edition isn't as nice, and it'll put you all the way back at the world spawn. Villagers are also slightly different, with Bedrock allowing you to see the next trades, where Java only shows you the current one. This is super useful, letting you know if he's worth upgrading before you actually upgrade him. However, you can't see any enchantments in advance, so you still have to level them up to see those. You can dye shulkers? You can dye shulker boxes in both versions, but only in Bedrock Edition can you dye the actual living shulker. I guess it could be cool if you keep them as pets, I guess. Sheep can also have colors, which you steal from them using shears. But did you ever notice that in Java, the spots left behind are always white, no matter the sheep color? Whereas in Bedrock Edition, the spots on the sheep can be any color you want. Okay, let's speed run through a couple differences. These ones are really simple, but also quite interesting. Your hand moves more when walking in Bedrock Edition as opposed to Java, although you can barely tell. Leads are also cooler in Bedrock, letting you attach them to not just walls, but also other entities. You can make some really fun contraptions with this. Bedrock has a setting that censors all bad words in the game, not just on signs, but in chat too. It's pretty easy to bypass though. Java Edition has a furnace minecart which doesn't even exist on Bedrock, and if you right click it with some coal, it moves until the coal runs out. This is a baby villager on Bedrock, and this is one on Java. Notice a difference? Their heads are different sizes. Bedrock baby villagers must be way smarter. Okay, speedrunning over, back to normal. The debug stick is a really cool tool for changing the state of a block. What direction something is facing, including nether portal frames. You can mess around with doors a lot. It's the same with pistons. You can also make zero-eye end portals, and a bunch of other useful things, although sadly this is only a feature in Java Edition. Bedrock, it just doesn't exist. Something else that's exclusive to Java is picking up items in the creative inventory. If you grab something, exit out, and reopen your inventory, you're still holding the item. If you try the same thing in Bedrock Edition, it just puts it back where it was. The combat update in 1.9 completely changed how attacking works in Java Edition and not Bedrock. This came with a lot of changes, but an interesting one is Sweeping Edge, which is now a Java exclusive enchantment. Bedrock players still need to spam click at their mob farms. Another interesting difference is the axe, where Java's does 4 more attack damage than in Bedrock. My favorite part of this is being able to break a boat in one hit so you don't accidentally hit the mob you're transporting. Sadly, Bedrock doesn't work this way, and you still have to be really careful. He has hands? In Bedrock Edition, you can give armor stands anything you want and they'll hold it, even an end crystal. In Java, these guys are useless and can't hold anything, not even a shield. Waterlogging is when a block like a leaf has a water source inside of it. However, Bedrock has way more things that you can waterlog than Java. Shulkers, doors, buttons, pressure plates, spawners, beacons, and so much more. In Java, after you kill the dragon, it'll float into the air as if being carried up to heaven. Whereas on Bedrock, the dragon decides to die on the ground. One of my favorite Java features is holding down the middle mouse button in creative and being able to duplicate an item over the other spots. Bedrock Edition doesn't have this and it bothers me so much. When you have a potion effect, Java Edition will show it in the top right corner and when you open your inventory, whereas Bedrock only shows it on the right side. You can make a faster offspring of a horse by breeding two horse with the swiftness effect applied. The more you do this, the faster the new horse gets until you go super speed. This is a Bedrock feature only though, and sadly this doesn't exist in Java. Aw, this looks cute. In Bedrock Edition, if you place a flower in the snow and then replace the snow that it broke, you now have a snowy flower block that's much more seamless and clean compared to the Java Edition, which needs the whole block to be dry for one flower. Shaders work very differently between versions. On Bedrock, all we have is one built-in option, RTX, and this is generally for PC users only. Java, however, has thousands of shader packs, which are all free to download online. Java's offhand is way better. All Bedrock can hold is shields, totems, arrows, fireworks, and maps, while Java players can hold any item they want, and they can use it to place blocks. This is so overpowered. All right. Now it's time for you to let us know down below which version you think is better. And after you do that, click this video here to find out what happens if a creeper explodes while holding a totem of undying. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out.